Coach Carrie, and I'm in the backyard again, and I wanted to get as many videos done as I could before I have my full root canal next week. So we're going to do it. Mother's Day is coming up, and I know that a lot of you are going to want to go out and pick, you know, maybe some flowers for your mom or your grandma, or you have an aunt or an uncle. Doesn't matter. But there's one thing I really need you to be careful for, okay? So like here in the backyard, there's some beautiful things you can see. I'm gonna try to figure out how to do this. Oh, there's a spider. I don't know if you can see it, but right now I'm looking at, this is a little poplar tree trying to grow. It's a yellow poplar. See that little leaf? And then we have a tree over here. It's a maple, and it is kind of trying to get real big. But then there's something that has 3 leaves we have to be very careful for, and it's called poison ivy. Now, a lot of people may see it and say that's poison oak or that's poison sumac. You can call it whatever you want to as long as you say poison first. But the most popular one that we have around here is poison ivy. And it's a vine, and it can grow up trees, and it can grow up all over the place. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But the Beatles, they were a music band, and they also did not want you to get poison ivy, so they wrote a song called Let It Be. And it goes like, leaves of 3, let it be, leaves of 3. And that's kind of how that song goes. So if you see a plant that has 3 leaves on it, and it's going to have a little bit of like a jagged, I'm going to get a good picture in here. It's got this little jagged piece on it. And it gets to where some are like real shiny and some are kind of dull. It just kind of depends on what stage of the life cycle it's in. And again, it can grow up to be a big vine, or it'll stay low. But you may see this on a tree, or you may see it on the ground. Now, poison ivy has this invisible oil on it. Urethranol. And it can stay on clothes and like shoes and all kind of stuff for over a year. Now, just because you touch the poison ivy doesn't mean that your arm is going to get all caked up with like these sores, but it is very painful. I can tell you, I have a son named Bishop, and he'll probably have poison ivy tonight just because I talked about it. And then my husband, he could probably have a poison ivy salad and not even bother him. Everybody reacts differently, but for most humans, if you touch poison ivy and don't wash your hands, that's the big thing when it comes to poison ivy. You can get some on you, but if you don't wash your hands, it's probably gonna cause a problem, okay? And they say to wash yourself like 3 times. So that leaves a 3. We're gonna wash 3 times too. A lot of times you'll see people get the poison ivy like on their arm by their elbow. That's because they probably had it all over their hands and their other part of their arm, but they didn't wash up there. Now, something else that happens is that, say you go camping and you have like this cool camping shirt that you wear, and then you only pull it out for camping, and one day you're at home and you pull it out, and all of a sudden you have poison ivy. You haven't even been outside, and you're like, why in the world do I have poison ivy? Well, it was probably on that shirt, because again, it can stay on things for over a year. So when you're outside, just be really careful and look for that leaves of 3, let it be. Do not touch it. And there's all kind of home remedies if you do get it. You can do, I've heard like baking soda where you add water and make a paste, tea tree oil, apple cider vinegar, aloe vera. There's medicines, but sometimes you may have to go to your doctor and get a shot, which is okay, or get some medicine, because it can be very, very painful. So yes, there is an invisible oil on poison ivy. It is all over the place, especially here in Lumpkin County. So if you're outside, and a secret way that it can also get on you is that if you're walking and you walk through it, and that secret oil gets on your shoes, and then you go to take off your shoe, all of a sudden it's on your hand, and then you touch your eyeball or you touch your brother or your sister, and then they've got it, and maybe they weren't even outside. So with everything going on, we've learned a lot about hand washing, but if you go outside and you're taking off your shoes, it's even more important. So please look out for this. I'm going to post some pictures of the poison ivy that we found around here and on the walk that we had yesterday. If you have any more questions, look it up. I'm not a doctor, but I will do all that I can to help you guys out while we're all quarantined and stuck at home. I love you. Give yourself a big hug, and just be careful of the leaves of 3 and just let it be. Love y'all.